Hi everybody, this is Keith Curtis, and today I'm going to be demonstrating a new script called PIntool. This script was inspired by the new map pin feature on Roll20, and it is designed to make a lot more easy a lot of the tasks surrounding map pins. So I'm just going to go through and show you a few of them. The first feature it has is to convert. And by convert, this is to take the old style of note token map pins, which are a common solution to put information on a map, where you hide or you place information for that specific area into a token. In this case, the token is linked to a character called site. And the information is primarily stored in GM notes, but there is also some information stored in a couple of the token bars. And of course, the name of the token is information in itself. So what we want to do is we want to take all of these note pins and convert them into modern map pins. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put a command here into chat. And this chat, we'll go over the command very briefly. PIntool is the beginning of the command. Convert is the actual action we want it to perform, and then we're going to tell it to take the name, and we are going to assign the name of each note pin or note token to H2, heading level 2 in a handout. And what this is going to do is it's going to take them all and it's going to put them all in a handout so that you can drag map pins out, and it's going to tell it to take all the contents from the GM notes and to make that the format normal. It's going to tell it to take bar 2 max and assign that H6 and do the same thing with bar 3. There's an extra command in here called supernotes GM text set to true, and that is if you use the supernotes function for your maps, it's going to do a little bit of trickery to separate out visible notes from invisible notes, notes that are player facing versus notes that are GM facing. Image links is set to true, so if you have any images or image commands in your notes, it's going to place those in line in the resulting handout, and is going to put a little link that you can click in there so that when you're looking at it in a note, you can send that image to chat. And then finally, we have a little last command here is replace true. And what that means is after it has created the handout, it is going to go through and it is going to put a map pin on the map for each of those H2 headers. Basically, it's going to take all of the note pins and place map pins down where the note pins are. Let's run it and see what happens. Okay, so with one of these selected, it's going to take a couple of seconds to generate the hundreds of map pins, and it has done so. Let's go ahead and zoom in here, and you can see that there is a map pin wherever there was a token note pin. And there is also now a handout called City Map Pins, and let's go ahead and open that. And you can see that for every note pin, for instance, Seven Clans Casino, there is a corresponding entry on the handout that was created. And if you click on that, you can see that the information has been correctly pushed over. You can see that had, you remember that on the original, that had a, oops, let's see if I can get that. Here we are. On the original, it had a markdown style image tag, and what it has done is it has placed that into the handout so that when you click on the map pins currently do not display inline graphics, so it has placed a little image link there so that if you click on that image link, it will place the image for that pin into chat. Hopefully, in the future, inline images in map pins will be a thing, and in which case this bit of the subcode will go away. All right, so that is just the barest creation of a handout and replacing the pins. Now, I've still got all of these tokens left over, so I want to get rid of them. Now that I'm convinced that my conversion has gone correctly, I want to delete all of those tokens. So let's go ahead and let's select one so that it knows what it's looking for. And we are going to issue the command PIntool purge tokens. And this is going to purge all of the tokens on the map. So I'm going to run that. And it's going to ask me to confirm because it cannot be undone. Let's go ahead and click to confirm. And it's going to take a second because they're an awful lot, but you can see them disappearing, and now it is done. It has deleted all of the tokens. So now we are left with nothing but tokens, or rather map pins, on the map, but all of these are set to the default, which is invisible. These are the sort of map pins that would be useful to a GM, but not to the players. This city map is meant to be player facing so that the players can explore the city. So the last thing I want to do, also I think they're a little bit big. So I want to make some changes. PIntool also has the token mod-like ability to set properties on PIntools based on macro commands. So let's go ahead and we're going to say PIntool. The command we're going to issue is set, and the parameters we're going to set are visible to all, so that these will now be visible to all players. And we are going to tell it scale 0.5, so we're going to make these all half size. And the last thing we're going to tell it is to filter all. And filter basically means don't just do the selected map pin, which is the default value, but to go ahead and do all on the page. So I'm going ahead and issue that command. And again, it's going to take a second, and you can see that they are all converted to smaller map pins. There's a little display glitch that I can't really control here, but until you refresh the page, the map pins are not going to be quite in the right position. You can see that when I click on them, they appear in the right position. If you just refresh the page or change the map to a different page and back, those will all fix. But yeah, all of these are now player facing. You can see that all of these now have their player text, and the GM text is separate, and that's all pulled from the original handout. And so you can see Seven Clans Casino, all the stuff that is meant to be player facing is in block quote, and all of the stuff that is meant to be GM facing is in regular text. That is a feature of map pins that we have set using or actually it's a built-in feature of map pins. We've just set it using PIntool. All right, there are some other commands here. Let's say that you have an existing handout that you want to put map pins down for, but you don't have those little note pins that tell you where to put them. So what we're going to do is we're going to go to a brand new page, and all right, we got a blank page. I want to tell the script to take this PIntool, the handout called City Map Pins, and place a pin for every entry on the page. Now, when we did the conversion, we had a note of where to place each pin. Since we don't have that on this page, let's say you're creating something from scratch, you have the document, but you don't have any information on where those things go in the document, we're going to issue a command. And so that is going to be PIntool, and the command will be place, and we are going to tell it that the handout is called City Map Pins, and the level of the pin tool that we want to place is from every H2, every header level 2. So name comes from H2, and we just press enter. So we go ahead and click that, and there are going to be quite a few of them. Because the names can be quite long, it's going to stagger them slightly and just place them in a nice little grid so that you can drag these wherever you need to place them on the map. So that is that feature. There is also a help system, so you can type PIntool --help, and open a help handout, and that will give you full documentation for everything that is there. In the script, you can see that there are several levels of primary command. There is a set command, and we used that earlier to change the size and the visibility of everything. There's documentation for all of the properties that you can currently set. We demonstrated the convert command, we demonstrated the place command, and so that is pretty much what the tool does. I'm sure that being as it is, given the set commands, kind of a toolkit, that people will come up with interesting new things to do with it. But that is PIntool.